What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back again with another Tottenham update and to talk about all the transfer news surrounding the last 24 hours. We have the always brilliant Brian Daigle talking about everything Tottenham related. How are we doing today, Brian?
We're doing good, buddy. I hope you're good and everyone watching is good, and looking forward to this one.
Before we get into the update, please do check out WeAreTottenhamTV.com. It's on the bottom right-hand side of the screen right now, so do check out the website for more written content there. We're also on the podcasting platforms, so do check out the audio versions as well. But let's start with an update from Ali Gold surrounding the what would you call it? The protracted, I think, at this point, AC Milan move for Emerson Royal, and obviously there was confirmation last week of a bid being rejected by Tottenham for Emerson Royal by AC Milan. Milan's bid being rejected, and he's confirmed that AC Milan's bid for Emerson was £8.4 million. The bid was verbally rejected, and then later submitted formally and rejected again. Obviously, this kind of is in line with a lot of reports from Italian media at the moment suggesting that this bid has stalled. And given that price, you can probably understand that, can't you, Brian? Because 8.4 million for a player who I know isn't the most well-renowned respected player at the moment in the Tottenham squad, but I think we can all agree he's better than that kind of price, can't we?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, when Fabrizio tweeted this yesterday, a lot of people, including myself, were like, oh, here we go. We know what's happening here. This is just another deal that someone's getting involved in. But Alistair Gold today has come out and said that price. And if it is reported that it is that price of 8 point whatever it is in euros, which works out about £10 million, it's laughable. It's laughable. And Spurs have every right to reject it. Whether you love him, hate him, want him to stay, want him to leave, that is an embarrassing offer for a team that desperately wants him. Whether you think cut your losses and just get rid of him, up for debate, but I'm kind of the impression if they were closer to the 15, 16 million euros, then you're talking, do you take the hit? But 10 million euros, no. We can certainly do better than that, and Tottenham have every right to turn this offer down.
With the bid being so low at this stage, considering apparently the negotiations have been going for quite a while, do you reckon there's a good chance Milan move on from this at this point, or do you still see that higher bid? Because they're going to have to almost double their bid, to be honest, if they're going to get any closer to Tottenham's asking price. So do you see that happening?
Well, we're going through this with Spence currently with an Italian team, aren't we? Which, obviously it's nowhere near these kind of numbers, but does this now start attracting more teams to say, okay, we can do better than that, let's submit this? Are we trying to get a bidding war going for Emerson to inflate the price and other teams to do the work for us? We'll have to wait and see, but I think Milan will get this done. But the thing that worries me about it is the amount of time it's going to take and how long that gives Ange to then use whatever funds we do get to strengthen the team.
In terms of Emerson, what do you reckon the percentage chance of him actually still being here next season are? Do you reckon, that's a possibility we haven't really considered, considering we want to let him go and I think he wants more regular game time. But is there a possibility that we don't get the price from anyone that we're looking for, potentially our money back or 20 million, and that he does end up staying at Tottenham?
I would go 50-50. I'm going to sit on the fence for once because I just don't know how this is going to go.
That's quite likely.
I just can't see which way this turns. But what I will say is if he does stay, will Ange be pulling his hair out? A player that obviously doesn't fit into his system, or we don't have a designated position for him. Is this going to upset the apple cart? Is this a player Ange wants out the door so he can reinvest? That's the bigger question, I feel. But the way we do business, I can't give any other odds other than 50-50 whether he goes or not.
Fair enough. I still think there's a good chance he will leave. Hopefully, Tottenham can find the right price point and Milan can match it. Look, he's been chatting about Milan a bit, so I do think he wants that move. And let's hope Milan can up that bid. Next up, we're going to be talking about a report from Calcio Mercato and Italy suggesting that Napoli are obsessed with signing Dejan Kulusevski. The club are now returning for the winger and considering an approach for the Tottenham player. Obviously, Napoli now under the stewardship of Antonio Conte, who knows Kulusevski very well from his time at Tottenham. Obviously, he had that brilliant period when Kulusevski first joined Spurs, where he started like a house on fire, but the following season didn't really pan out the way that Kulusevski would have hoped. But obviously, he is a player that Conte will know well, and Conte is a manager Kulusevski will know well. Deki is a player that obviously I'm a big fan of, and I really appreciate his qualities, of his versatility as well. But is there a question mark about where he truly fits in this team right now? Or for you, is it a case of when you got a player with that much quality, you just got to try and fit him in somewhere?
So I will say with this one, when I saw it this morning, after all the stupid rumours and nonsense and 2 and 2 making 312 or whatever you want to make it, finally, there is a rumour that actually makes a bit of sense, and you can see the idea behind it. Kulusevski under Antonio Conte, especially in his first season, you could see what he could bring. It was a manager that played to his strengths, and we saw the best version of Kulu that we have in a Spurs shirt. As much as he has the attributes to play in an Antonio Conte system, he doesn't, in my opinion, in an Ange Postecoglou system. And this is a player that can genuinely get us a good chunk of change. And this could go towards a big player like a Neto, an Eze, a Doué, an explosive winger that does fit Ange Postecoglou's system and can assist the team in playing the football that we do. So I see the logic behind this. I think Kulu goes to Italy and he excels, and we see the player that we saw at the beginning part of his Spurs career. I just cannot see him. He's a jack of all trades and a king of none in an Ange Postecoglou system. So I can see this. I can see the logic behind this one, and I kind of hope this does happen.
You kind of hope it does happen. It would be a shame to see him go, though, considering, I kind of feel like with Deki, there's always like another level he's got to show in terms of his ability, and I still feel like we haven't seen the best of him. He's still only 23, so I still believe he's got so much more to give, and it would be a shame to let him go. But I'd also acknowledge that the way we play, there's not a real natural right place for him in this team right now. So if we were to get a sizable bid, I think we would be stupid not to at least consider it if Deki was interested. But how much for you would be the minimum that we'd have to get for Deki?
Oh, you're minimum looking at 50, 55 million minimum to even entertain it, unless we use Kulusevski in some kind of extremely crazy make weight for a player that Napoli have that may interest Ange. And the immediate one you think of when you think of a striker is Osimhen. Obviously, I don't think this happens at all. So before people start saying that Brian thinks we're getting Osimhen, that's not what I'm saying. But if there is a bargaining chip and Kulu is wanted by Milan, that maybe. But if it was just a flat out go out and buy, then 55 million minimum for me.
Would you consider a money plus Deki bid for Kvaratskhelia?
Absolutely, without a question of a doubt. Without a question of a doubt, would I? We need an explosive winger. We need a tricky winger. We need someone that's going to get behind, pace to burn, skill to burn. And unfortunately, they're the attributes that Kulusevski has not got. And this is a player, if you look at it, players that are available that may be on the radar of other clubs. Kulusevski is one of the top people at Tottenham that can command a fee. So it's an interesting one. And like I said, I think if I was back, I would want this to happen.
Well, for me, unless we get a sizable bid, I wouldn't want it to happen. But if it does happen, I kind of see the logic. But a part of me would definitely be very upset if I was to see Deki leave the club before we really saw the best of him, I feel, or on a consistent basis anyway. Another report coming out of Italy from Gazzetta dello Sport, this is about an incoming, says Tottenham have made contact with Juventus to sign Federico Chiesa. Juventus want between 20 to 25 million euros plus bonuses to sell the forward. The player has also received interest from Roma, but his preference is to move abroad. Chiesa obviously just played in Italy for Italy at the Euros, having, I would say, mixed results. He's a player who I really liked. He's now 26 years of age. He did have a serious injury a couple years ago, and there are suggestions that he's still struggling to truly get over that injury. But 20 to 25 million is a really good price for a player of his quality. Would it be a smart piece of business, or is it a case of Tottenham going for a cheap option again?
Well, the way that, first of all, Spurs make contact, a great buzzword that we're all familiar with, so doesn't mean a lot to me. But we're looking at it. I heard you and Ben discuss this yesterday. When you're looking at 25 million for Jonathan David or 25 million for Chiesa, and you say which one would you rather, as much as I think David could do a job at Spurs, and I think a lot of people are just dampening what David can do because of where he plays, the country he represents, and everything that goes along with it. Put him along quality, I think he could do well. But between Chiesa and Jonathan David at the same price, there is absolutely no discussion needed. You go for Chiesa. They would both be 25 million punts. One because Jonathan David in the French league, and obviously Chiesa injuries. But Chiesa makes a lot more sense than Jonathan David, doesn't it?
In terms of what Spurs need potentially, but in terms of who's guaranteed to be a success. Well, not guaranteed, who's more likely? I mean, you could definitely argue David, given his track record, and he's younger than Chiesa, doesn't have the injury record as well. You're a fan who watches Canada obviously regularly. I'm assuming you watch pretty much every game. Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts on what Ben had to say on Jonathan David? Like, is he someone who you do believe could do really well at Spurs, or do you understand the kind of reservations about him?
Listen, I understand the reservations with him. I really do. And I heard what Ben was saying about him in the Copa America. Listen, Canada are when it comes to football in nations, it's a developing country. We saw they qualify for the World Cup for the first time in recent history. Obviously, they played very, very attacking football and got caught out. And it happened in the Copa where they first time ever in the Copa, they finished fourth. They do not have the quality that obviously Jonathan David has when he's playing in France. If he comes to Tottenham, obviously playing alongside the players at Tottenham, it's a completely different caliber compared to what he's playing with Canada. And could he do a job? I personally think he could. And at 25 million, it's a punt worth taking. But I can understand the reservations. I can understand it, but you got to remember the most important thing is when he comes, or if he comes to, I think if he goes to another Premier League team, Spurs fans will live to regret it because they will see what he does in the Premier League. But it's a case of whether he comes, isn't it?
Yeah, that's for sure. A report from The Athletic now, and Adam Leventhal has weighed in on the Conor Gallagher situation yet again, and he says that new information, Tottenham's interest in Conor Gallagher is active, and Chelsea are waiting for clubs to show their hands. Valuation between 40 to 50 million pounds, 1 year left, so option to extend and strengthen for future interest. But now Euros is over, this is a key period. This is the transfer that just won't go away, isn't it? Even though we've now got Archie Gray through the door who could potentially play midfield, the Conor Gallagher story is still there. He's suggesting that Tottenham is still very much interested in Conor Gallagher and could well make a move for between 40 and 50 million. A lot of people are getting tired and bored about this potential move. For you, Brian, is he a player we really need, or is it would it just be kind of a move just to maybe weaken one of our rivals and boost our midfield?
I don't want this player anywhere near us. I am getting sick and tired of this. I mean, we've been waiting to make our move. Now is the time for over a year. This is a story that won't go away. And to me, this is all it is. It's a goddamn story. Whether we weaken one of our rivals, we strengthen them financially, which is their Achilles heel at the moment. So I don't think Gallagher wants to come. I don't think there's any weight behind this story. And the fact that the journalists and ITKs and whatever keep bringing this one out, to me, is just quite frankly embarrassing. I'm sick and tired of this. If you remember that TV show Room 101, I would put Conor Gallagher in Room 101 because I cannot stand talking about him. It's just nonsense to me. And as I said when I came on your show and spoke to you in bed about Archie Gray, I think we've signed a player that's got more potential to be better than Gallagher in the coming years. So I just don't understand any logic behind this deal.
But is he not a player who does have a lot of ability in terms of how he his profile of player, the way he so aggressively presses the opposition, gets in their faces, wins the ball back in the middle of the park so consistently? Is that not a player that Ange maybe you can see really working for him?
He may work for him. And if he wears the shirt, obviously I'm going to have to support him. And if he wears the shirt, I've got to buy a shirt with 23 Isaacs on the back of it, which I'm praying does not happen. But you look at it, we're talking about looking at people in the last, like we just said, that 25 million in the last year of their contract with Jonathan David. Are we doubling in that? Are we even thinking about, if we spend 50 million on Gallagher, I think it's a huge waste of money. A huge waste of money which could go elsewhere. So yeah, I just really just hope this dies a death and we don't hear about it again.
Well, I doubt this will be the last we hear of it, to be honest, Brian, but let's wait and see. Another story coming from Ali Gold talking about Destiny Udogie. He says Udogie is not expected to be fit yet to play Hearts in midweek as he continues his rehabilitation following a surgery to his left quadricep towards the end of last season. That's obviously not good news. We would hope that he'd be fit for the start of the season. It doesn't make an indication whether he will be or not. But it's not great news, is it? Obviously, he had such a great season, his first full season as a Spurs player. We just need him back fully fit as soon as possible because we know what he can offer, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at this as well. When he announced that he was going to be out for the remainder of the season and not part of Italy's Euros, the reason they took these precautions was to make sure he'd be ready for pre-season and ready to go. And obviously, that hasn't worked out. His rehabilitation has not gone as we can only say as free flowing as the Spurs medical team and Spurs would have thought. For me, take all the precaution needed. If he's that far away, do you even think about taking him on the Far East tour, or do you leave him at home to rehabilitate? Because most importantly for me is Destiny Udogie, the opener of the season against Leicester. We need him at left back. So now Spurs need to think: is it worth taking him to the Far East or make him rehabilitate at home? Let's just hope first game of the season, Premier League opener for us, he's at the starting left back.
Yeah, we all are really hoping that is the case because I think last season, especially when he was fully fit, I don't think anyone could argue he was probably the best left back in the league at that time. Unfortunately, he did get that injury and he was struggling, I think, at times near the end of last season. Yeah, I think you could see that. But a fully fit Udogie is really, really important going into next season. So obviously, we have not signed a backup yet for him. Obviously, Ben Davies probably filling in that role for now. But I think we do really need a fully fit Udogie if we want to achieve our aims next season. So, yeah, if he's that far away and he needs that time to rehabilitate, no point sending him on the tour. But maybe that minutes in the tour could help him get back to full fitness to see where he is. So, but not great news that he's still not fit. Let's wish him a speedy recovery. The last story comes from Tottenham Official. They did have an announcement to make, a new signing, introducing Kraken FX, the first ever official crypto and Web3 partner and the official sleeve partner for our men's and women's teams. The official tagline is "Get ready for a game-changing partnership." Obviously, this is taking over from Getty, who were the was it Getty? Getir, sorry, not Getty. Getir were the sleeve partners of last season. I think they were a delivery app, and now we've partnered up with a official crypto and Web3 partner as a sleeve partner. I did ask our crypto in-house crypto expert Sai his thoughts on the deal, because he's an expert in this field, and he said they are probably one of the top three currently cryptocurrencies, and it's he quote an outstanding partnership for Tottenham. So he's quite positive about it, and obviously, look, hopefully it'll get us some more money in terms of sponsorship. So we can reinvest that. But what do you make out of the agreed deal, Brian?
So first of all, with that logo, major childhood flashbacks to the Pac-Man ghosts is the first thing I will say when it comes to that logo. Spurs have given them rope to hang themselves when they say game-changing partnership. But in all seriousness, we got told that this deal was in the offing. We didn't know the name or the brand or what kind of industry they're in, but we were led to believe that this is going to be a much bigger deal than Gatia. Brilliant, more money coming into the team. Sleeve sponsorships has become a major part of modern day football. Spurs have signed a huge deal. Well, let's see the game-changing deal happen. It's a huge deal. More money coming in, which is what we all want at Tottenham, wherever you think about the club. Now, let's see it reflect on the pitch rather than other places. So, after the sponsorships we had last season, both training gear and sleeve changing, it's more revenue coming into the club. Windows open. Let's see the impact.
Apologies, I was getting mixed up. The Get Here was the training sponsor. It was Cinch, which was the sleeves. Cinch was the sleeve sponsor, so apologies about that. Ali Gold as well, just tweeting about it, now confirming it's a 3-year deal, and it'll be substantially more than the previous Cinch sleeve sponsorship. So that should really help, hopefully, with obviously FFP and getting money into the club. But look, we will see if what's it called, talk is cheap, actions speak louder than words. So we need to get those signings through the door. But look, that is all for today's Tottenham update. If you want to see more of Brian Daigle, do check out more of Tottenham on Tour. Link will be in the title of the video. So do go click the link and give Brian some love and go check out some of his Tottenham content. But that is all for today's Tottenham update. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs.